I understand it's completely absurd to be talking about optimization without pictures, but listen very carefully. I have a philosophy for optimization that very often helps increase your conversion rates, improve the quality of sales that you're making, as well as improving your overall lead generation. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, where we help freelance copywriters get better results. Now, one of the biggest challenges you're going to face is you can write the very best copy if it's put in front of the wrong people, then you will not get conversions. And you're being judged on the conversions your clients are producing. So, putting words on page is the least of your problems. You need to know who the customer is, what sources and mediums translate into sales, and ultimately drive home both the lead funnel and the sales funnel for maximum conversion. So, if you want bigger assignments, if you want more results as a copywriter, you have to understand how we optimize for conversion so that we can know that we're targeting the right prospects. So, you have the user source and mediums that's used out on social media, it's used out in your ad campaigns, it's used on third party websites that reference your own website, and of course, in any advertising campaigns. If you're not familiar with this is part of Google Analytics, and it is a tracking code that goes on the URL of your website. That link goes to a landing page on your site. Now, it could be a one-step landing page that goes to where somebody can purchase something, or it can go to a landing page that offers a free gift and they can put in their opt-in. What I just described there is the lead funnel. The outside traffic coming in, going to a landing page represents your lead funnel. Now, after somebody opts in on the confirmation page, or after they've done the double opt-in so that you know that you got permission to email them, you're going to send them a welcome email that includes a link to a sales letter. Now, this is some kind of first time offer. This is some kind of one click upsell. This is something that you're definitely offering a monetary transaction because at this point you only have their email address. Now, let me take a little side break here and explain. I'm telling you this detail. I'm sharing with you this detail. You don't need to see a picture. I'm sharing this detail because these are all opportunities to write additional copy. If you've written a landing page, are you also writing the welcome letter that upsells, as well as the email series that's going to be sent after the person opts in? So let's get back to the sales funnel. The welcome message comes. Person clicks through from the welcome message, which could be on a third-party platform. So you also want to use the UTM code to track the source of that link, but it could be also in a CRM system that'll help you track that in another means. But this is the beginning of your sales funnel. Now the person's left the email and they've gone to the landing page and they have an opportunity to purchase something. Once they make the purchase, they go to a thank you page. You could have an upsell funnel, could have other things, but this is the sales funnel, and it's a separate thing of the landing page. Now, when we're optimizing, what's more important? Is it generating more leads or generating more sales? Now, it's a chicken and the egg scenario here because if you want to generate more sales, you need to have more leads, of course, at least more traffic across the sales page. So, how do we get traffic across the sales page? Well, we can send more emails because we have the opt in. We could send better offers in those emails. We could generate more leads. Now, in order to generate more leads, what kind of leads do we want? And again, I want you to understand this thinking process because when you're sitting down with a client and they say, I want more sales, and you start doing your marketing audit, you may notice they have somebody opted in and they got one email. They got a welcome to the email list, and that was it. The customer doesn't have a prospect newsletter. The customer doesn't have any in-house publications. The customer doesn't have a way to follow up. The customer doesn't have their phone number or any way to same audience match out in the lead funnel. And so again, these are opportunities. But if we're going to optimize, we don't start with the lead funnel. We start with conversion. Now, if your customer doesn't have any conversion, then you're going to need to figure out who their buyers are. Now, first off, if you're writing copy for somebody who has no conversion, then you're writing blind. If you're writing copy for somebody who has no customers in general, then how are you going to get paid? But let's assume by whatever sales and channel they have, and again, we're talking about channels. Are they getting customers online? Are they getting customers off of Facebook? Are they getting customers off of their storefront? Are they getting customers off of a mailing campaign? Where are the customers coming from? Then we ask, who are the customers? because when we know who the customers are, now we know who we need to generate leads with. See, this is very important because every one of your front end channels, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the TikTok, whatever these platforms are, which could also include events, physical live events, whether you're going to a trade show or a conference, all of those sources of potential leads, we want to extract from there the people most likely to buy. Because even if you're following up with the email, lead generation costs money to maintain those leads. So we want to get high quality leads. How do we know what a high quality lead is? We look at our conversion stats. So we're going to research in the sales funnel who is the very best customer, and then we're going to adjust our lead generation to attract more of the very best. Now, very often what we can do, and I've done this with clients, is we'll drill down into who their best customer is, and then we'll just go get mailing lists of the very best customers. And now we have copied for an email follow-up or a postcard campaign or a letter in the mail or a prospect newsletter that's online or in another prospect newsletter that's offline. And so now every lead that comes through the lead funnel is getting 10, 15, 20, 30 follow-ups, sometimes as many as 70 follow-ups in the course of a year. Now, again, I write for high ticket offers. So you can contact somebody 70 times. If it costs you $1 every time you contact somebody, that's just $70 a year per leads. Of course, you want to have qualified leads, but $70 a year per lead, that's not that much when it comes to a transaction that has a customer lifetime value of $10,000 or $15,000. Now, do we have to spend $1 per contact? Not necessarily, because we're again optimizing for conversion rate, and there's a conversion rate in the lead funnel that converts a visitor into a lead, but there's also conversion rate in the sales funnel that converts a prospect into a buyer. And if we are optimizing for the sales side and we're in understanding who these buyers are, we can take that information and apply it to our lead funnel. Now, as we apply it to our lead funnel, we start looking for new places to reach customers. Now, technology today makes this really simple. We can get a list of customers and we can ask a search engine, or we can ask an ad network, or we can ask a social media platform to show this ad to people who look like the folks on this list. But you may not know that you can go to a list broker and say, I want to find an audience match here. And we can start now making a criteria of 20 or 30. So when I'm developing the materials, the editorial materials for a company to use with their in-house writers, we'll start developing a criteria list. It could be 20 questions that need to be answered before we know that person's qualified. And so whether we're following up by phone with salespeople, whether we're sending letters in the mail, whether we're bringing people in for discovery calls, whether we're following them around the internet, showing them additional content on our blog, we want to know that we're attracting the right kind of customer. And so optimizing from the transaction back to the interest gives us a better focus. Now, it's a big mistake. A lot of times folks want to just generate more leads. A lot of times folks just want they think that they got more traffic to their website, they're going to be better off. And see, again, we're moving further and further from the goal. If you want more traffic, that's very far away from a sale. If you want more exposure, that's even further away from a sale. If we start with the bottom line, we want to create a return on investment so that every dollar we produce generates enough money to replace the dollar we spent for the campaign, yet generates a profitable customer. See, when Dan Kennedy says the winner is the one who can pay the most for the customer, and we're in the business of buying customers, then this optimization should make more sense because we're starting with the customer. And this can be even go into your accounting system. You don't need any special software. We go into the accounting system, we dump a list of the customers and their total dollar transactions over a time period. And then we figure out the cost basis. So that's often in your accounting system if it's set up correctly. And then we start doing some basic math to determine which of these customers are profitable. And then I take that list and put it into a statistical software to identify the clusters of potential customers in that group of customers. So if you got 100 customers, we might find 5 customers who all happen to be electrical contractors. And then the rest of your customers are scattered all over the place. But those 5 electrical contractors, they've done repeat business with you. They've done a large number of transactions with you. And now we know to focus on those people. Do you have to specialize in those people? Not necessarily. But you can have campaigns that go under the radar specifically to that target customer that we are now testing against our general market campaigns. And then if we find we have better conversion, if we find we have continued and greater profits, we're building a business. Now, if you've got thousands of customers or thousands of transactions a month, we can do this even more accurately because we want high statistical probability in order to know that we're investing our marketing dollars rather than just throwing them around and hoping something happens. Another factor that's very important that's it's a little bit out of the scope of a freelance copywriter or a market or even some marketing agencies is the technical aspects that the analytics tools are actually working. See, one of the biggest challenges I have when I'm working with a client and we're doing the market analysis and then the maintenance of their analytical tools, and of course that includes integration between different platforms, is that no matter how hard we try, Google still attributes a lot of traffic to direct none. Now, if you're not familiar with that, that just means the traffic, they don't know where the traffic came from. So if I've got 300 conversions and I don't know where the original traffic came from, I don't have enough information to trace that all the way down to the sales transaction, and therefore it's more difficult to target. So what we often do is use surveys. So you generate a lead, and then we're going to use a survey on the back end to kind of ask individuals more about them because the tracking is not perfect. If we go to our e-commerce tab and we're looking at the conversions and stuff like that, and then we ask it to give us a, kind of the source attribution, it may give us the last time the person was at the website with the browser that they hadn't used in 3 months, but they made the sale on another browser that they just reinstalled on their computer because they got a new laptop. See, if we use the surveys in the sales funnel, we're able to better understand who people are. And then, even more importantly, remember, I said the optimization starts with the transaction, and our transaction internally is to identify who the profitable customers are. Because again, we want repeat business from profitable customers. Then we would even survey our customers to better get to know them and understand them. And that's where customer appreciation events come in. That's where webinars that are just for customers, where you do Q&A sessions, come in. And a lot of folks will say to me, well, what does that have to do with copywriting? And I'll tell you right up front again, it's market research, not into the potential marketplace, but the actual marketplace that you're able to connect with and touch. You will very often find that there was some nuance of what was said that really resonated with the people who have bought your products and services, and now you can go out and reach a larger market. Now, it's also possible that you're going to find a bunch of micro niches that don't have very large customer populations. But again, we can load that into AI. And so my agency does a lot of research for folks. We write commissioned reports and we deep dive research and we run through the stats. And that helps copywriters, but it might not be something you do, but you need to be aware that it exists because we can take a list of your top landing pages with conversion, feed it to an AI platform, and get 12 new topic ideas. And so, as a copywriter, if you're working with a client and they want to do more business with you, but they don't know what they should have you write, if you understand that this analytics exists, you can come in and, for example, under the e-commerce purchases tab, you can get a list of their products that are most likely to show up in the cart. So I'm looking at stats right now, and I know if we want to do this in a workshop, just write me or comment below and we'll do this in a workshop. But I can see right here from my own site that there are 204 add to carts for freelance markets for copywriters. So that's a report that we have. But I don't see that as my number. That's my number one added to cart, but not my number one checkout. And so knowing that, there's something wrong with the copy where somebody's interested enough to put it in their cart, but not interested enough to buy. And so I need to go back and revisit that copy. Or I capture an email address. I do a landing page somewhere, and I do maybe I give the book away for a couple months, and I generate a list of 100, 200 individuals, and then I survey those individuals to find out what is the next step. What gets them across the threshold as far as purchasing that particular product. So again, your research on objections, your research on uh, the audience interests, your research on the language they use, all of that has zero value if you're researching a demographic or a customer segment that cannot or will not buy the product and service. So my final on this is you've got to start from the transaction that cleared the bank, the profitability of those customers. If you don't have enough information there, then you look at your sales conversion. If you don't have enough information there, then you look at your lead generation. But as soon as you start making sales, it's time to start dialing in. Now, if you have a large number of transactions, you can use a month's worth of data and you're going to know what works and what doesn't very quickly. If you don't have a lot of transactions, you might need to use a year's worth of data. Otherwise, the very best copy has little or no value if it's going in front of the wrong people. How do we determine who the right people are? And it's conversion optimization, starting with the sales transaction. And even better, we might use like a recency frequency monetary model where we're looking at multiple transactions because we don't want just one and done when it comes to a customer. We want a customer lifetime value that continues to grow. That means multiple transactions with the same customer. And so again, there's a lot of different models and a lot of different approaches, but if you don't understand the overall philosophy, showing you stuff on the screen is just going to distract you. So again, when you're working with copy for customers, so when you're working with a client, you need to know who is your very best customer. Who are the customers you want to target? Who's the people who are very best for what it is that you have to offer? If the client says everybody, then they don't know what they're doing. And you need to start helping them understand that some buyers will buy better and you want to work with maybe affinity. But when you're testing the concepts and you're looking at the analytics, there is a systematic approach that starts with which transactions cleared the bank and then moves towards which potential audiences or platforms can we advertise on. When people tell you about optimizing Facebook advertising, optimizing YouTube, optimizing all these channels, that is a distraction if you don't know who your very best customers are. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. If you'd like me to go over this in a hands-on workshop, then visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk to ask your questions. In the workshop, I will go through some screens and I'll show you some practical elements. I can't show you my client's stuff, but I can show you my stuff. And I can show you that even so it's as anemic as it is, because I don't focus a lot on our demonstration sites, but the demonstration sites have enough data to start making informed decisions. When you're able to make those informed decisions, you can start building out better customer segments for your clients. You can start writing copy that actually goes in front of buyers, and then you can ultimately help them optimize their lead generation front end. Plus, as I've shared with you, the nuances and steps, it could mean more email copywriting. It could mean more landing page assignments. It could mean more sales letters. It could mean 5-figure and 6-figure projects rather than, hand to mouth chasing down the $99 press release. I want to thank you for being a part of what we do here. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. Visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk to ask your questions. And this has been about the correct way to optimize your conversion rates.